Yep, yep. What's up?
All right.
What's up?
Let me make sure my mic is coming. There we go. All right. NDL, what is up? It's your boy Drew Baca here with my guy Matt, aka NTX Blue. Welcome to the Hot Route, the newest podcast, uh, the revival, if you will, of the Drunk on Dimes podcast. But we're here. We're happy to be under a new brand name, new co host, probably the same vision, just a little bit of different content. NTX, how are you tonight?
Doing great, man. Happy to get rolling. We've had a few weeks of kind of going and talking about it and preparing and getting stuff in the background. A lot of help from different folks. Pirate Flag was an awesome help for us. So it's good to finally be here, right? Night one.
Absolutely. Um, Yeah, so I know we've been talking the vision, what we want to do. Um, for the time being, we wanted to make sure that we got out to see everybody here before uh, the season got started and just talk about some things. Yeah. Um, but before we get going with that, there's some new guys to the league, maybe some guys that have been around for a season that just haven't gotten to know either one of us, what the case may be. So, just for anybody new or who hasn't listened before, just give everybody a quick who you are, how long you've been in the NDL. Uh, Nothing crazy. Just let us know.
Sure. Yeah, I mean I started in season one, which was what was that, Drew? 05? I don't know if
I don't know,
you weren't
brother.
here,
I'm a
huh?
season 29 guy. I wish I knew
Right.
about it in
Yeah.
2005.
I think it was 05. I don't know, man. It's so hard to tell to remember way back then. I think I was in until like 11 or 12, and then I was out for a bit. Then I'd kind of come back in and back out for a while. Um, Nothing really like super long. Like I'm not some of the guys, that have been in from day one, right? Like Big Mike and some of those guys have never left, right? So, but for me, that's just left, started season one, in and out, and then back for 33 was my first season back.
Cool. Um, Yeah, so I'm Drew Baca. I'm a New Yorker, one of the few Northeast guys up in here. Uh, I know Weasel, MJ Kemp's down in Jersey, Freaks in Jersey, Roke I don't think is anymore, but he's a Northeasterner. Marion County, our resident Estonia participant, he's a Northern Massachusetts guy, but uh, I just like to highlight Marion County sometimes, just because it's crazy that we have people spanning the globe. Still finding the time to be able to connect with people back over here and get games in and whatnot. So, I think that's a pretty cool thing that new guys should know. Just that we really are a global league in a sense. Um, but yeah, so uh, dude, enough about us. I think people get to know us through the Discord and whatnot. I know that we both love the NDL. We love to talk about the NDL football. We love to get together in the NDL chats and talk about anything but football. But for tonight, I think we should probably kick it off and just do a little draft recap. What do you say?
Sounds good.
All right. Um, so we've been talking behind the scenes, and we wanted to bring you guys just a few questions and an answer from our each point of view, and then we also were able to reach out to some coaches and get their feedback on some of our opinions to see how we align with those teams and those coaches themselves. But I think a great place to start, NTX. I know you're an X's and O's guys, so who do you think was a best fit coach wise for the team that they drafted? You got a name or two?
Yeah, I'll go one G5. One I talked about. Were you I don't know if you were I can't, man, it's so hard. You were on pretty much all of the draft coverage, right? Were you in day two?
I was on day one entirely. I was at a hockey tournament day two. I have not even been able
Gotcha.
to get through the entirety of that coverage, if I'm being totally honest with you.
Gotcha. One of my favorite picks was Hawaii, was T-Fan. Man, he's such a talented passer of the ball. I've played with him a few dynasties, and obviously played him a lot over the years. He's really, really, really good at throwing the ball. And I mean, what better fit than to get the ultimate run and shoot spread team um, under his belt. And then the one forfeit that I'm really excited about, this is kind of an under the radar, is Vic. Vic is also really, really good at getting back there and slinging it. And, I scrim him quite a bit. And this is probably the best quarterback Vic's ever had. So I'm not saying, obviously, that UCLA, a 78 rated team, is going to go win the Big Ten. But just in terms of those teams that could maybe spoil the season, maybe finish much higher than you would expect them to when you look at their rating. Obviously, Hawaii is very highly rated for the Mountain West, but for UCLA, like Vic's going to be a really really tough out this coming season. What about you? What did you find?
Um, so I stuck with the Power Four flavor. And I'm going to circle back to one of yours. I actually have a question. In fact, let's just even talk about that right quick. I'm more curious a little bit on your Hawaii pick there, T fan. Um, I'm just interested if you know, like, I'm not a huge ball knower, but I love the sport of football. The X's and O's isn't my jam per se. I'm thinking back to like the June Jones days, Timmy Chang. Is this the same type of offense you're talking about now that they were running then, a variation of it, or is it something entirely different?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know that T fan's gonna run it just because the game doesn't process it well. So that run and shoot is basically, I don't know if you ever looked at the playbook, but it's all choice routes, right? So
Gotcha.
wide receiver goes if they're cover two, the wide receiver runs the post. If they're cover three, he runs the dig. And the game just has this fascination with running the complete wrong route on those choices. Like they never make the right choice ever. So I doubt that he'll run something like that. But they still run a variation of it because I think Timmy Chang is actually the coach.
Is that right? I didn't know
And
that.
yeah, in real life, I think he's the coach. If I'm not
Huh.
mistaken. I'm gonna pull Google on it, but
I do
yeah,
know
he's
he
the
is
head
in the
head
coaching
coach.
business. I knew he was there. I thought he had left, but I could be wrong. Um,
Yeah, no, he's
but
the head coach.
No, that's interesting. I know the Mountain West is one of those where there's a certain subset of guys that went there and they've done a pretty good job of retaining their teams and having longevity. So cycling through that conference doesn't happen as much as the others. But just interested that maybe a guy that can sling the rock, like somebody I'm going to talk about here, Jumper, uh, may not hone in on a conference that can be had with a mediocre team if you're able to sling the rock, as you say. But to transition back over to my side of this equation, the best fit based on team and coach, Jumper was one of my choices at Old Miss. He is historically a guy that is uh, points volume centric. He is willing to concede points provided he is putting up points. Um, he doesn't shy away from saying, "I'll be the last one to have the ball and I'll go score. You can score every possession. I'll make sure I have the ball last." And he legitimately had a 7 point margin last year, so he really holds true to his word. So I did catch up with him though. I was able to get a couple questions over to his way. Um, I was kind of curious to see him go to Ole Miss just because I know he's a Oak State fan in real life, and they were available. Um, but again, that's a prospect for CFB 27 more so than it is now. So that was kind of his concern as well. He did say it was going to take a lot for him to not take Oklahoma State, knowing what they have coming for next cycle, aka the entire transfer class of North Texas. But Ole Miss was the only team he had ahead of them within his draft range, obviously not counting top five picks like Texas. Um, he had highlighted specifically, obviously, Trinidad Chambliss and then the running back Keywan Lacey. Um, and the fact that there are two, I don't have their names right in front of me, but two quality tight ends. And he was willing to give a pre scouting report on himself, talking about loving two tight end sets. So that was one of those things where he just couldn't pass up on the opportunity. One, to get a high quality offense like that, and then also knowing that Chambliss should be coming back next season, obviously, with Kewan Lacey. That sets him up for the next 4 seasons pretty nice. Um, so I thought that was a pretty good fit. I mean, he's put up points everywhere he's been, Baylor, Florida Atlantic. Um, I think I think he's going to give the SEC some fits, to be honest with you. Um, the other guy I had was, to be honest with you, not one that I was able to come up necessarily with on my own, but I noticed a lot of chatter in the live about Coach Brady taking on Iowa. I know he is a lover of pounding the rock, and obviously that's the MO for the Hawkeyes there. Um, so he's actually this is what I kind of love about doing this media stuff, right? I don't know Coach Brady at all, but he's a great interview. I was able to catch up with him, send him some questions, and he took the time to just send me back audio files of his responses. So there was a lot of great material he gave me. But
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, so this it's interesting, right? Because this kind of goes back to you love the X's and O's, and again, I'm not keen on that, but I am interested in guys' thought processes on how they choose teams and learning, right? I am trying to learn, and I've learned a lot. I've improved my gameplay, uh, learning people's styles, knowing how to then play those. So, like doing this is a lot of fun for me, and I'm sure that you can appreciate, a coach's insight on things like this too. But Iowa
Absolutely.
wasn't obviously probably his top pick, but he was pick number 50. So what he wanted obviously probably wasn't going to be there. He did have Louisville number one. I don't think that's a real surprise to anybody. Isaac Brown is an elite running back. Um, but he did mention that they ranked right up there because of him. The QB play was fine. The defense fit his style to a T. And when he was scrimmaging with them, he was averaging 300 to 350 rushing yards a game with double-digit broken tackles. So um,
Bro,
that's pretty
uh,
impressive.
bro,
Um,
I scrimmage him quite a bit. I mean, when he's in the scrimmage channel, I'm in the scrimmage channel. We play quite often. I played him with Louisville. I I don't know if hell exists in college football, but Brady with Louisville's running backs was pretty close to it.
really,
Like, I could not, and it was a close. It wasn't even. I mean, it wasn't a blowout. Like I think it was like a pretty close game, really high scoring. But they would just break. He already breaks tackles. I mean, he broke tackles left and right at App State. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what he does, but he is really really good at it. And it was, whoo, ACC be very happy that that didn't happen.
well, it's just crazy too because I mean the ability to run the rock in this game is a real advantage to be able to you know reliably pick up first downs on the ground, keeping the clock running. Marion County does a great job of that. And, I mean, come crunch time in the CFP, I guess we see that you probably got to be more effective through the air. It's not that those guys can't do that, but on the way there, kind of like you just said, they kind of just bludgeon people to death with a methodical approach that is hard to stop when they have the weapons that they need. Um, it is interesting though because I pull up the team crafters and look at these things, and I was top three players on their roster are all their offensive linemen. They're 94
Hmm.
overall center, 93 right tackle, 92 left guard. Um,
Yep.
but it's funny because when Brady was talking about Iowa, he said he just couldn't believe when you look at the roster. It's an 82 overall team, but he said the line play felt like a high level Sun Belt team, not a Big Ten team. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Well,
Um,
I think there's some misconceptions about what some of the ratings control and what they do, right? I don't
please
think
fill me
everyone.
in because this would be very good news for me and probably others as a nice little tips and tricks type of thing. Please.
Yeah, so I think like when you're talking about, like, it's not just run blocking, right? Like, and it's not just the overall almost means nothing at any position. when you're going through it, right? So if you're a guy that runs a ton of stretch or a ton of outside runs, inside zone, right? So if you're in the gun and you're running inside zone, then you want run block finesse. If you're someone like me who's running ISO and power and lead and things like that, you want run block power. And those so basically that run block power matches up with the defensive tackles block shed and strength and the offensive lineman's run block power and strength, right? So it's the ratings part of it is so much more than just like these guys are really good, because they could be really good, just not at what you want them to do. And that's why we've said it so many times that fit is so much more important than rating. And there's guys that I mean, there's teams I'll play with that are really like even Oklahoma. Let's say the Oklahoma on this version. The way I played this game, I am horrible with them because they're a spread team. They're made to run the spread, and I am not very good at it. So I think he'll get there and he'll figure them out, right? Because he's just really good at running the ball. But it's interesting to hear him say that because they are very much set up for more of a finesse style of running.
It's when I'm processing all that, but when I hear you talking about that, specifically the process of scrimming teams and feeling them out, getting to know what their strengths and weaknesses are, how they play to you as a coach. I think not just the thumb skills, but I think that's probably one of those differentiating factors between great versus good players, and then the chasm between the casuals like myself and the great players. But it would be amazing to have like a little mini YouTube series for the NDL channel where there's just like a mini school for people on how to assess teams and scrim them. And actually, I could go scrim 10 games with a team, but I'm not going to derive from those scrims the same volume of information and what I can do with this team or can't do with this team as a lot of you guys can. And I don't even know how many guys can do that, but it's something that is interesting to me, and it would be something I would love to get better at. So maybe somebody's created enough in an off season to make something like that. But um, that's awesome, dude. I love that you are able to do that because that's kind of a nice yin and yang. Because I can casually talk ball, but I love insight like that. Um,
Yeah,
let's.
yeah. I mean, the insight doesn't transfer to my thumbs, unfortunately, right?
Hey, fair. I think there's a lot of people like that. Um, let's move on then. Still draft centric here, but tell me who out there might have been a reach in your opinion. Give me one or two of your biggest reaches for the season 35 draft.
I think the biggest one to me was Colorado at 26. I just thought with what was on the board and having used that team, I've used that team a number of times. The linebackers, that linebacker group is a G5 level, mid-level G5 group. They're just slow. They're not good. The quarterback's really fast. He's just inaccurate. Um, I'm really surprised that Crash My Car went there that early. I
Yep.
mean, you had teams like USC, BYU, Baylor, Illinois, Florida. Now I understand not taking Florida, the SEC, Auburn,
Yep.
but even Oklahoma State is there, right?
Yep.
Who didn't go to 42? That's which that's another question down the road. But I just thought there was a lot better options there than at 26 taking Colorado.
So real quick, just funny, for the rest of the league out there, Matt and I definitely communicate, obviously pre-show about what we're going to talk on, but we do also try to keep our answers separate, uh, not for an integrity purpose, but just for better content, right? Talking wise. So it's actually funny because Colorado was my first choice as well. Um, I didn't write down a ton on this one. I've tried to reach out to all the coaches. Unfortunately, ICMC and the University of Colorado both declined comment on this particular line of questioning, which is fine. But as you said, even within their own conference, Iowa State, Baylor, just I didn't I can't believe it still. It's just it's way too high. Maybe ICMC likes Colorado, and that's why. Hopefully to find out and report that on a later episode. But yeah, that one was crazy to me too, brother.
I thought he was a Rutgers fan, which makes it even more puzzling because Rutgers was available,
Yeah.
who's a significantly better team, right? So that I don't know what happened there. Maybe who knows? I mean, maybe he used them and he just really enjoyed them. Maybe they do something that uh, he wants to do, right? Which would, like you said, be something we'd have to ask him about.
Well,
Shocking to me.
yeah. The hot route will continue to investigate. Um, Anybody else is a reach for you?
No, I did want to like kind of sidebar, and I'm kind of throwing this on you live. We'll do
Go
it
ahead.
live. Um, the accidental Duvid scooping Washington from Dub and the chain of events, the butterfly effect of that was one of the most not entertaining because it disappointed, but one of the wildest parts of the draft, right? So Duvid takes Washington at 19. He doesn't know that Dub, who is picking what 25th, is a Washington fan, right? Um, Duke the goes then very next pick, which there was some. I think someone said Knowles possibly would have taken someone else. Da, da, da. So Knowles takes Duke, who D Ward wanted. D Ward takes Nebraska, who Sammy wanted, right? And it just kind of Duvid basically picking that pick set off this chain of events that led a bunch of people to teams that they weren't. They thought they were getting their one and they got their two. So you hate to see that. I just thought it's really interesting how the draft can kind of domino. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm kind of glad you sidebarred there because to that same effect, there were you just mentioned the guys that um, saw their hopes and dreams maybe snatched right in front of them, but it was also amazing to see how many guys um, did get their favorite teams. Even and so
Absolutely.
that's why there's probably other teams on that draft board that maybe are gonna could be considered a reach, I'd say. But at the same time, if somebody's drafting their favorite team, I'm not gonna call that a reach. Like a Michigan State at 12 for Hughes.
Hmm.
I'm not. To me, there's other teams that I probably would have picked, but even so, like that's not a reach because he's got his squad, and I think that's awesome. And I think there was quite a bit of that. Obviously, Andy, RB, but even on down the line, Mort, there's quite a few teams. So I enjoy that as well. But more interestingly is the other side of that you brought up, the sliding. Poor Sammy's here watching live, having to recount that again. But yeah, the sliding glass door theory, the butterfly effect of uh, one unexpected change in the draft, and it snowballs. I did have one other that I wrote down as a reach. Again, not necessarily because it is, but wrote it down to find out a little bit more. Uh, San Jose State Jokers, number 17. Um, I get it in the Mountain West. They're not a bad team. Obviously, not the class of the Mountain West by any means. That is a gettable conference for him, I think. But I just didn't really understand it. I thought that he probably could have gone other avenues and had just as much season success, if not more. Um, so, I just reached out to Joker, asked him some of the similar questions. Um, how he felt about being classified as a reach. Jokers was high on his program. With his offense, he intends to, quote, put up numbers that haven't been seen around here in a long time. And his defense, he was pretty optimistic. He said, quote, we'll play with a physicality that sets the tone every week. Um, and he wouldn't back down when I told him I felt like that was a reach. He told me, our goal isn't just to make noise in the Mountain West Conference, it's to build a nationally recognized program. The Spartans didn't bring me in to be mediocre. They brought me here to win, and that's exactly what we plan to do. And if we're being called a reach, we appreciate that. We'll gladly use it as fuel all season long. So
That's awesome.
don't hold that against me, Mountain West Conference, if Jokers comes out and ravages y'all. But let's see if he can prove me wrong or if I can Claim I got you on this one.
That's
That's
all. I
all I
love the
had there.
response though.
Go ahead, bud.
I love that response, so that's awesome.
Me too.
I fully expected him. My thought was that he would go Hawaii Mountain West.
Yep.
That's probably just the Jeff Daddy connection, right? But also he does like to sling it, and that Joker's offense is fantastic. I do wonder. Something we could ask him. I don't know if he's still here, but I do wonder if it's a 1 year thing or if he's planning to ride them into the new Pac 8. Right? Because are they one of the ones that gets to go into the new conference?
That I don't know, to be honest with you. Um,
Let's see. Oh no, they're staying in Mountain West. I
are
just
they?
pulled it up.
Well,
Yeah. So
um, never say never. Obviously, he could very well parlay a nice season success into a high draft pick and move on. Um, but from the sounds of the statements I got from, there's a lot of conviction in his voice there. So um, maybe he's found a home in the Mountain West and he intends to stay. We'll see.
it'll be interesting.
Yes, sir. Um, a couple more here. Was there anybody that fell in the draft? Not a coach, obviously. A team that fell in the draft that you thought should have been drafted higher, maybe by somebody specific or just in general because they were better than their draft position.
Yeah, there was a couple a little off the board, I think, but Central Florida and West Virginia. So I think both are relatively low win goal teams in a relatively, as far as P4 goes, the easiest of the P4 groups, right? Because you look at some of the big ones, like you look at Florida and Auburn. I get why Florida and Auburn drop. But UCF has P4 speed. Like they have legit compete with elite team speed. West Virginia has really good, solid speed on defense and an elite running back. Quarterback play is a little iffy, but those two, I was surprised. I expected someone to jump out and grab either one of those a little sooner.
Yeah. Um, I like those. Good picks. I wrote down a team pretty far down the list here. Kennesaw State all the way down to 84. I wouldn't pretend to sit here and say I've dissected them and claim them to be the class of the conference, but they are, after all, the highest rated in the conference, and that of all the conferences is a very gettable one. Um, again, maybe there's nothing there; it could be a bare cupboard, but there's got to be something there for them to be rated as they are. But just kind of seemed like maybe in a conference like that somebody would have taken the long shot that they could take the top team in the league, and if there was one or two weapons in there, run the table of sorts. um, but again, I that's just me at the eyeball test more than anything. I don't have any concrete evidence to the point that I'm making here, but I thought that was a little bit interesting when I was looking through that. I mean, Conference USA isn't stacked, but I guess there's also so you talk about the Pandora's effect, sliding glass door, or whatever. Here's one. I wonder. So MJ Kemp ended up in Conference USA, and I don't know if people know anything this, that, or the other assumptions, but he had the 100th pick, and it seemed like a pretty good bet he would end up there. So it also makes me wonder if people avoided that entirely under that uh, potential presumption.
I could see it, especially coming in with a 7 win goal and a conference goal of you have to play conference championship.
Yeah,
That's a tall order for a team that is only what 3 seasons into the Division 1 football.
yeah.
2 seasons. Yeah, I don't know that roster's that ready for that kind of challenge. I
You know,
wouldn't be with it.
it's crazy too though. So I have the draft media guide up right now that you made. Appreciate you doing that. I hope you keep doing that every season. Um, but what's funny is, again, not that you talked about this already earlier, about attributes mattering, not player overalls, and similar with team overalls. But it's just funny to see the team overalls here, and the next highest rated team in the conference is Delaware, who's a brand new FBS team. So I don't know if
Mhm.
that's an indictment on the rest of the league or what, but uh, just interesting to see two basically babies of the FBS at the head of that conference.
It
Um,
is interesting.
One other one I wrote down. Um, Again, you might be able to dissect this one a little more for me. I love that my guy Jeremy Hubbard got him, but I thought Temple maybe probably should have gone well ahead of 71. Um,
Uh, yeah.
I mean, there's enough on offense there to be worked with. Obviously, Hughes put up felt like probably close to 40 points a game last season. I know he and I played an epic one at the end of the season, but there, and I honed in on that one just a little bit, similar to my Iowa one with Coach Brady, because I had also seen some other live chat discussion about Temple, um, maybe a few other channels of communication as well. I'm not sure, but time will tell. I hope that they are an underrated team, and I will end up playing my guy Jay Hub at the end of the season, last week of the season. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope it's a good one, and I hope he can do well alongside me in the AAC this year.
I have I have a working theory on that actually.
Yeah,
Not on you and Hubbard in the AAC. I do think Hubbard's going to have a really good year. I think he's finally found a team that fits what he wants to do and what he does well, right? So me and Hubbard came in at the same time, so we talk a lot, we play a lot, we talk a lot about what fits and what doesn't, what works for him, that kind of stuff. But I have always, and this is just a personal thing, I've always died away from teams that have a really good year the year before, right? So like when I was looking through teams, like Rutgers was there for my pick, and I thought absolutely not. There's no chance I'm going to take Rutgers and go 5-7 after MJ Kemp just took them to the playoff.
yeah,
Like my ego can't handle it. So I want I do wonder how many people looked at Temple and saw Hughes this season and thought, nope, not trying to follow that.
yeah. Now, I mean, it's and again, to each their own. Everybody has a reason, but like just looking through the draft list, I wrote down even the fact that like Syracuse went ahead of Temple, and I just feel like I'm not saying the ACC is the strongest conference, but they're obviously far and away better than the AAC. So to see CG opt for a bottom feeder in the ACC. I don't know why you wouldn't maybe opt for what should theoretically be a little bit of an easier sled against some of the middling American teams. But hey, everybody's got their team now. It's going to be fun to watch it play out, regardless.
Yes, it is.
Fun little one here, just a little forward facing. Later in the show, we're going to get into some of the wagering aspects of the NDL now, thanks to Andy. I love that undertaking. I think that's going to bring another element to the league, the Emerald Lagasse, bam, kick it up a notch style. Um,
Yeah.
but give me a team after the give me a team drafted after 75 that you think will have the best season. I think at this point this is kind of a cop out question. I had this one written down pre-draft, but I'll be interested to see that we go to the same place. Let me know what you got.
I'm gonna and this might be recency bias because he just kicked my head in. I played absolutely horribly. But Cleat Freak getting Boston College way down at 88. And I know he kind of struggled. He was 4-8 with Louisiana Tech, but whoever I played on last night was not a 4-8 coach. That was, like
Did
he
you play
was
him in
way
war
better than.
games?
No, we played in Cup,
Oh,
and
Cup. Okay. I
man,
actually
I
played. It's funny you bring him up. I played him in war games recently too, and yeah, I mean, I ended up somehow bringing it back, but he had a 21-0 lead on me in the first quarter. He took his first play to the house. So yeah, uh, that's a good call. I like that you called him out. Um, any more on him, Cleat Freak? Any other picks? Or are you good on that one?
No, that's what I got on that one.
Okay.
It's tough down there because I wanted to stay away from Minja Kemp because it's just such a cop out. I think,
Dude,
and,
that's
and I
I know. I wrote that down because it's the obvious one, and I'm glad that you chose a different one. I'm going to go in a different direction instead of copping out on him for the next one. So I'll take the easy route here, and I'm glad that you highlighted Cleat Freak for me. That's good. But yeah, I mean, too easy, right? I think.
That's yeah.
But
That's the answer.
so just I don't want you to necessarily have to stake your name to it right now, but uh, probably a 50-50 chance maybe at this point then that Conference USA could be see itself be the representative for the G5 for the first time in the NDL.
Man, I'd have to look at. Let me pop his schedule up because
Yeah.
I think I'll be honest with you. I think this is. There's a few names. Obviously, USF is there.
Let
Um,
Hey, let me. So
but
this is great. I'm glad we're flowing here. This is perfect. I'm gonna pop a question to you right now, and it should flow right into what you're talking about, and it's gonna help me too. Um, so when you're going here through the next few teams, I'm gonna ask you for a prediction on the lowest drafted, aka the highest number picked team to make the playoff, as in FIU MJ Kemp number 100 being the obvious choice and who we're talking, about here, and then the follow-on coaches. Go ahead, Matt.
so I highest finish of lowest teams. I'm not gonna. I don't think there's anybody down there that is gonna make the playoff. I don't think because I think my G5 playoff pick stayed right. But I do think a little overlooked is Drewski at 68.
Okay.
Um, I think if you could take, and this is a little bit of inside baseball. You're in NDLU with us, so having played Drewski there and watched him play there, if there is a team that you could sort of appropriate what his favorite team, Missouri, is to the G4 level, Jacksonville State's a really, really good representation of that. Good running back, quick quarterback, quarterback that can run, quarterback that can move. Um, Obviously, they're not near as good, but they're kind of a similar style of team. So I think he's going to have a really good year at Jacksonville State. I just don't know that it's going to be that good of
Yeah.
like playoff good, you know.
Well, he's got at least one win on his schedule because we're gonna have the Drew Bowl in Week 6. He and I are gonna play
Nice.
at Jacksonville State, so we'll probably. I don't know if it'll get played every year. I don't need to get my skull dragged once a season by him. But again, I'm open to it. But may have to create some kind of AI generated rivalry trophy for that one.
Yeah,
I think it
that'd be fun.
deserves it. Um, so I'm in the same range. Again, obviously, MJ Kemp at FIU is one that could do it, but one other guy that is down there in that range, I went to pick number 61, Ryan Collins at Western Kentucky. Um, he's a baller, man. He's had a good season at Tulsa. Not record wise per se at BYU, but again made the Big 12 championship game. He actually ended up in my Beefy Cup group alongside Alabama and Notre Dame, and he just played Alabama to a 5 point game, I think. um, and then just in terms of looking at the season Conference USA wise, I had just alluded to the fact that they could potentially be the G5 rep for the first time ever if somebody like MJ Kemp can run the table. But they actually play MJ Kemp and Ryan Collins. That is in Week 8, and so I'm just kind of doing game theory and looking ahead and just wondering if he's able to somehow sneak past MJ Kemp there. Um, he does play LSU as well. I mean, obviously, I don't think that there's even a miracle possible there. I never say never, but I don't know. Again, if somebody else from the G5 runs the table, then that's probably it on him. But if everybody in the G5 were to have a loss, if it was to just LSU and he were to beat MJ Kemp, that could be one of those, you know, things that a little bit beyond what has happened previously, in terms of the G5. So Probably not very realistic. I think you've got teams up there that you got guys that either stayed, like you mentioned, or guys that picked up high there. El Jefe to USF being one, but there's definitely other candidates. But if you had to take one of those long shot odds, a $20 bill to return you 1,200 later down the line, Ryan Collins is my pick.
It's a good pick. I'll tell you while we're talking about kind of that week 8 game, that block 4 determines MJ Kemp's season. So he's at Central Michigan week 7, at Western Kentucky week 8.
Yeah,
You get through
that
there,
yeah,
who knows?
that's crunch time right there, huh? Um, well, in the nature of the show, what do you say we hot route away from some draft talk here and do a little pop culture break?
Let's do it.
All right, brother. So I had let you know a couple days ago. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of just because I've seen it in the live chat lately. There's been a couple. We've had the PGA 2K league start up. Uh, we've seen guys talk about the boxing game. MLB The Show is right around the corner. I know there's a good subset of people that are interested in that. So all that talk just got me wanting to reminisce a little and just talk about some of the games that were your favorites growing up. 8, 9, 10, 12, all the way through a teenager. Doesn't matter, whatever. So we can probably trade off here, but why don't you give me one of your games from back in the day, your OGs?
Sure. I actually took some screenshots. Let me hold on, man. Let me pull these up because there's some names that blew my mind. But there was this is a really deep cut. I don't know if anybody's gonna remember this. I was a big Sega kid. So I mean, born in '84, right? So I had a Super NES. I had a Super Nintendo, but I was like 6, 7. Once you really hit that 9, 10, 11 mark, I was playing Sega. And there was a game that I played on the Sega so much, man, was called Echo the Dolphin. Do you remember this? Have you ever played this game?
No. So it's funny because I'm going the Sega route as well, but I don't know that particular one.
That one, it was I don't know why, man. I don't know why, but I saw it. Actually, ironically, you know how it's so weird, sort of the way the world works. But you'll be thinking about a subject or thinking about something, and you hop on a TikTok or Instagram or something, and boom, there's a video, right, of the stuff you were just thinking about. But this was a video of like nothing but throwback Sega games, and that was on there, and I was like, oh my god, I played that game relentlessly when I was 9 years old.
Yep.
So that's a funny one. What you got?
That's awesome. Is Sammy still in here? Just real quick again. So that's funny because I don't know that, but Sammy knew it right away, and I wouldn't expect anything different from him. He is very deep in the gaming culture, and I love that. But I love hearing these things too. So I might just go back and look at that. Actually, one of the one that I'm going to tell you about first um, was also on Sega Genesis. So same. I'm a 1989 born, but Sega Genesis was also the first platform that I had ever played. I never owned one. My dad was highly averse to video games, so I didn't have anything till a PlayStation 2. But luckily, my best friend, whose mom babysat me, had one. And so, 1994, NCAA football. That was the title, just NCAA football. But that's I'm 5 years old, but like I still just have this image in my mind. Like that was the first year that I started watching Penn State games with my parents that I can have memories of. And so then to have this NCAA football game that me and my buddy can get on there and play every day and be an 8-bit Penn State was like just such a mind blowing concept to me at that time. But you're so young; it's ridiculous now. But I just remember you could just spam the spin button and you get the sounds all the way down the field. Like just dude, that shit was so awesome. And I don't remember if it was that year or '95, but one of those years it was the theme song on it was "Jump" by Van Halen. And so like ever since that game, that song's been just anytime it comes on, It makes me think of that. Um,
I loved, was it Madden '94 where the ambulance would drive onto the field and pick the guy up when he got hurt?
Dude, there's
Like,
like
this is
so many.
insane.
So I remember that from like NHL '96. There was just that was the only one that ever did it that I saw. But you'd be like try to hit a slapper to clear the zone or something, and sometimes you'd hit the referee in the head and they would fucking get dusted and go down to the ice, and like. It was such a random thing to occur, but it happened. It was like gold for me and my buddy when it happened. But yeah, I love things like that. That's so funny, dude. Um, but yeah, enough about that one. You got another one for me?
Yeah, there's a few. Man, going on into the PS1 era, Road Rash. I played a massive amount of Road Rash. I don't know if you remember that game. That was a motorcycle racing game where you could pull out chains and like hit people as you were riding.
Can I tell you something, brother? This is
What?
like this podcast had to be meant to be. That is literally what is written down number 2 on my list. Like
That's
and
awesome.
I wrote it down on PC. I had to go. I went back and looked, and I didn't realize that game actually started on Sega Genesis, no less. Um, but yeah, I remember I had it for PlayStation for PC, and yeah, I sunk days into that game. But dude, so check this out. I'm so glad you brought that up. Like I was, I was doing my research for this the other night. Just like looking at things for that just to make sure I didn't have these rose tinted glasses and trying to remember everything right. But I researched Road Rash and there's an emulator online. You can go back and play it on your laptop right now.
Really?
100%.
I don't I don't know that I would, man. I made a mistake one time and I rewatched Land Before Time with one of my kids,
Yep.
and it was absolute dog shit. It was one of the worst things I've ever watched. And so now I have this thought of like I'm just going to leave every happy memory back there where it was, and I'm not going to ruin it because I
That's
don't
fair.
want to see how horrible the graphics were and go, "What were you thinking? Can
Dude,
why did you play this so much?"
it was bad. Like so I'll tell you I ran 3 races, but like I couldn't dude, I couldn't get enough of fucking kicking people off of the fucking off the track and I I was addicted for about 15 minutes of my life to, my 9-year-old self. But yeah, I mean just the graphics are horrible, but if you ever get a wild hair, go back and check that out and just run one race for the nostalgia of it. But that's so
Yeah,
cool that things like that exist, and I'm glad we're doing this and I happen to come across that. But so funny that you wrote that down in your number 2 slot as well.
that's hilarious.
Um, yeah, so I won't. We don't even need to cover that one more. You already nailed that one on the head. That one stands the test of time in my memory bank. Um, I got one more here. You got anything left?
Uh, the the very first actual sort of there were two at one time. Let's say it this way. Um, but I just my one of my most fond video game memories is getting me and all my friends getting together around a Nintendo 64 to play WCW versus NWO or GoldenEye.
Hell yeah.
The just that man that you talk about nostalgia, like the fact the minute someone picked Odd Job and the amount of shit talk that happened, just man, that was such a great moment in time.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I didn't going through my Rolodex of games in my head, I had almost written down um I think it was on Sega Genesis, WWE Royal Rumble. Again, didn't have that, but I
Yeah, that
would
was a great.
yeah. And I beg I made my friend play that so much at his house after a while I had to fucking beg his ass to play that shit, but I couldn't get enough of it, dude. I love that. That's awesome. Great choices. GoldenEye also too. There's another one that stands the test of time. That's an all timer for sure. Um, Couple other ones that I had written down, staying kind of PC centric. I played a lot of Roller Coaster Tycoon and The Sims. Um, I mean, those are just games that you could sink a lot of hours into too. But uh, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously the Sims, you had a little bit more freedom there to explore and do sinister things as well. But I don't know. I love talking about this stuff. I think there's a billion trillion games out there. We could talk about this with anybody and everybody you ever had on, and we could probably never get another person to say the same games in the same slot like we just did. But that's the beauty of life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
And
That's all I had for that one. You want to audible back to a little football NDL?
yeah,
All right. Um, so yeah, BBB tonight. That was a fun way to kick off season 35. We're trying to do our part here. I know outliers, and then game day leading into the kickoff on Saturday. Games open for Block One. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you are.
no, I am
What
not.
you had put out a crazy stat a while back. When's the last time you played an official sanctioned NDL game for competitive purposes, not beefy cup here yet?
Oh, January? No, was it beginning of January? Probably
Yeah, I'm just
first
I
first
don't quite
2 or 3
remember either.
days.
I just it's been a long time. Let's put it that way. So, um,
Yeah, ever since Six stole my bowl game, I uh I would have had one then, but I guess it would have been first week of January.
that's
Would have been.
crazy. That's a long time. I mean, I know obviously more recently the time has gone a little bit quicker. There's been a lot of draft talk, draft prep, doing the draft, which um, that was a hit. I know you were there. You were there Saturday as well, but I saw you were with us and obviously hopped on Friday night. But I think you couldn't. It's going to be hard to top this first rendition of that extended live draft because that one was just knocked out of the park. The commercials, just everything, dude. So I hope we can continue to bring that at the same level every year because I think that's the marquee NDL event in some sorts, just because of the excitement and anticipation around a season wrapped up in that.
And the great thing about it is every draft is its sort of its own animal,
Right.
right? Like you don't know the teams, you don't know what users are going to be there looking. Um, it's so fun to break it down, and there's that sort of that spring training excitement. Where we all feel like we're going to be good at the game again with
Yep.
the right team. We haven't realized that we're not yet, so
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun there.
Hope reigns eternal, huh? Um.
Right.
So in that light, let's talk not just week one, but some futures. So obviously, Andy got NDL Sharps up and running, inspired by the commercial from yours truly, Pirate and Tutty, during the draft. Um, so we're gonna get to some bets that we've made here, but I'm just curious if you've thought about the season, where we're headed, and if you have any nothing that you have to stake your name to, but just predictions of things that you think might happen this season uh, when you've been thinking about season 35 here in the run up to it.
So just in terms of the season itself, not necessarily like betting wise, or are we doing those?
Before we get to the futures bets and our block one, just anything. It could be so and so doesn't make the playoffs, so and so does. This conference gets whatever the case may be. Anything that you've just anything off the wall even that you've thought of this season that could happen.
I think honestly it's going to be really interesting. I think you're going to see some really similar trends, right? I think the Big 12 kind of comes down to two, maybe three, but probably two teams, right? It's probably Texas Tech and Utah. That's Smitty could jump in there for sure. But that's a big gap, man. I mean, 81 up to what Texas Tech and Utah are is a really tough big mountain to climb. If anybody can climb it, Smitty can climb it. And then you got the weasel factor in the Big 12, right?
Yep.
I think obviously the SEC is probably the most fun race to watch just because it's a bunch of heavyweights, right? It's a bunch of heavyweights with a bunch of heavyweight teams. So almost every week you're getting Ali and Frazier, right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, you got a Roke who beat Jiggy with Mississippi State,
yeah,
gets him in a rivalry game. Rain, who made the playoff with Notre Dame, gets probably a better team for how he plays, right? An upgrade leaves Notre. I mean, how often do you leave a Notre Dame and get a better option?
yeah. Yeah,
So those, so there's, I just think those are kind of the really really fun things in my mind when I just scan through the standings page and look at what I'm excited about.
yeah. So I like that because I was kind of thinking in general terms as well. Shying away from too many specifics, but number one, I am gonna double down on my conversation earlier. Maybe these are both bold, but I don't know. But I kind of like bold predictions because it's more fun to gloat when they hit. But that's few and far between. Um, I'm just gonna go ahead and predict that Conference USA is the G5 rep for the CFP this season. Um,
Ooh,
Probably MJ Kemp at FIU, possibly Ryan Collins, but yeah, I think MJ Kemp will do it. We'll see. And then another one that kind of ties into what you were just saying and talking about the heavyweights that have consolidated into those two conferences. Obviously, you just talked about some of the top Notre Dame, coach switching over to become the coach at Alabama. Just the shifting in players. Landed, in my opinion, not in my opinion, factually speaking, because obviously Roke going from Mississippi State to Texas A&M is objectively an upgrade. But yeah, the shuffling of the deck put a lot of very strong coaches in very desirable places. So um, it's going to be a lot harder for guys to run the table. There's going to be you're gonna have to be really locked in all the time to fend off some of these guys. I mean, Devin Higgins getting Miami now, like just
mhm.
things like that. So my other bold prediction for the season is gonna be that neither the Big Ten or SEC conference champion will win the CFP. I think
Uh,
obviously Texas and Ohio State are going to be two of the heavier favorites, but um, whether they end up being the conference championship winners or if they get tripped up there and then they come back in the CFP and then do win it, but to your point of it being an absolute slog and having to go 15-0, 16-0, I just think it's so hard that when you get into those end of season games, you know, Ole Miss and Jumper playing Jiggy in Texas, he can put up points. You just never know what can happen. The turnover battle can change things quickly. So that's my bold one. Again, no SEC or Big Ten champion from the conference will win the CFP, even though they're probable favorites now. I just think it's too hard to to do it.
that's bold.
Yeah.
I like it. And I mean, you're onto it, right? Though, because you look at the top, eight in that SEC. Arguably, any of those guys are good enough to go and win a title, right?
Yeah.
You look at the top. I think the interesting, the Big Ten, obviously is a very top heavy conference. But I mean, and, you talk about uh, Pat, um, D. Kennedy, Shell. Those are the three that you're gonna look at. There's some unknowns in there, right? Like I don't know how good K Dot is, but you just don't have the depth of elite rosters in the Big Ten that you do in the SEC. So it's really interesting. I'm interested to see how many teams the SEC gets in this year because they almost got six last year, and it's arguably a better conference than it was last year, right?
Yeah, I think no, I think in real life just as in the NDL here. Big Ten's definitely top heavy. The now as it's been in real life, three titles in a row, the top heavy is very heavy, and I think you could argue that for the Big Ten now. But yeah, top to bottom, the SEC is just so strong. It's gonna be tough. I'm glad I don't play there. I'll tell you that.
Man, It was not an accident that I didn't end up there.
Yeah.
So I was looking at, because there was times in the process where like a Mississippi State would jump off because I was looking in that. When I go through the draft, I kind of go, okay, I'm picking X. Let me run all teams that are available by their rating. Here's my slot, almost like a college, like in a MLB draft, right? Like, here's where he's slotted to make money
Yeah.
or whatever. And so, like, here's my slot. Anything 82 or lower, or 80, low, like half the 82s and down. And it kept coming around like Mississippi State, Kentucky, Arkansas, and I was like, no, no, and no. Like I'm not at that level. Like I
Right.
just that just sounds like misery to me.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely losing is okay, but you still want to have fun in your season. I just that would never be fun for me. But um all right. Well, obviously, Andy was able to roll out some futures yesterday, and then he was able to roll out some block one lines today. So, for those who are with us live, you'll be able to see it on screen here. For those that are going to listen later on pod, we'll go ahead and cover them for you. But um, I'm going to go ahead and I'll throw up mine first, Matt, and then I'll throw up yours, and then we'll just each have a graphic so it's clear whose is what. Um,
Sure.
so for futures, I was looking. Um, I thought there was reasonable value in Miami minus 150 to win the ACC. So out of my 10,000 Andy coins, I dropped 100 on Miami to win 66 to take the ACC championship. Um, Playing again into what I kind of just discussed with the G5 in the playoff. Um, I saw Andy had listed on there a few G5 playoff contenders, and then at the bottom he had plus 10,000 any G5 not listed to make the CFP. So I bit. Uh, FIU was on there, but WK Western Kentucky Ryan Collins was not, and then one other like probably off the radar, but you never know name and team that could possibly do it. I just put on Sergeant Zoot and Tulane. Again, probably not, but you never know. So I put 25 down to win 2,500 on any G5 not listed by Andy at plus 10,000. I thought there was good value in that. 25, whatever, man. That's chump change these days.
Right.
Um,
That's good. And Tulane's a good roster too, man. That quarterback is
right.
really, really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
And you never know. I mean, it's just, obviously there's other teams that are maybe a little more talented depth wise, have more talent depth wise, but you just never know about the fit. Guys can take teams thinking it's going to play well for them, and maybe they don't have the season they want. And so, a team that is good like Tulane that isn't being spoken about enough in the conference can rise to the top. Um, that was the two that I did make futures bets on. I just wanted to highlight, one no future bet from me was on the season 35 Natty champion, and for the same reasons we just talked about, um, part of me thinks D Kennedy very well. Well, not. I know that D Kennedy very well could go for the three-peat, but it hasn't been done yet. It's very hard, and so I can't even look at that list and pick one of those teams even remotely above another. It's just there's the gaps are so small. So I just steered entirely away from any futures bets on the champion. Um,
I did too. I
yeah,
did too. It's too close.
it's
And they're,
yeah,
and they're I feel like and this is no knock on anybody that had a high level team last year, but I feel like since I've been back, this is the first time I can look at it and go, oh, like every high level team, for the most part, has a really high level user.
yeah. It's yeah, and I'd be interested to see what other guys did make for futures bets in that regard and why they did. Um, Real quick here, just to round out my bet slip for block one. There was a couple that I toyed with. Only ended up on two. I saw that Andy gave me the opportunity to get Kansas minus 6.5 versus Missouri uh, at minus 110. Uh, I like that line. Again, I don't have any insight on Big Brian and Mizzou, but I'll take my chances with Smitty in Kansas. Bet 100 to win 90. Kansas minus 6.5. And then the other one I went with was Notre Dame versus Miami. I bet 100 to win 90 on the over of 60.5. I think obviously Miami with Devin, we know they're going to put up points. They've got Mark Fletcher and I want to. I don't know why Kadarius Tony came to my mind, but that's not his name. I forget the damn little wide receiver they got there, but he is
Malachi.
elite. Malachi,
Malachi.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Um, and then Notre Dame, obviously, with their running backs. And I heard in conversation with somebody else that RB won a game against a pretty high level user with a P4 team 51-21 the other day, which again, that doesn't mean that's going to happen every time, but clearly Notre Dame under RB can put up some points. So I felt like 60.5 was easy money with Notre Dame and Miami.
Absolutely. Especially the way the defense is playing right now.
Yep.
This might be the highest scoring season we've ever had.
That
And
that
this is something we could touch on on another episode at some point. But like I think I talked to Sammy and Vic and Six and some of the guys after the draft about it. But uh, there's something going on with the game in terms of defensively where I don't know if code is degrading. I don't know if like they stop caring about what's happening. But there's weird stuff happening in every game now that you watch. I had one last night where my running back got stuck on my quarterback, right? Like it just held him for a half a second. Um,
frustrating.
it's just weird stuff, but I just think coverage is not where it was during season 34, just in terms of gameplay. I think you're going to see a lot of overs. There's going to be a lot of overs hit this year.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think you're spot on there, and I was gonna say too. I don't know what Andy can and can't do with that, but it would be pretty neat to see, if he can pull all that metadata and put it in a spreadsheet. But I think you're right. I think you're gonna see guys on NDL sharps just smashing the overs. But we'll see if Andy corrects those lines eventually. So here would just be a funny one. What do you think the highest over under point total we'll see all season will be? It's got to get into the
We're
triple digits, doesn't it?
Has to. It absolutely has to. There's gonna be some teams. I mean, you're gonna end up seeing a Big 12 game with two offenses or a big, you know what I mean? Like two offenses that are just going crazy that are also giving up just ridiculous amounts of points. Or even you could even look at a like you said, at a jumper game, right? Like I don't know if Ole Miss plays Auburn, but if Ole Miss plays Auburn, give me 100. Give me 105.
Yeah, I can't wait, dude. It's gonna be fun. We'll bookmark it now. For the listeners, we're gonna come back at the end of the season. Maybe we could get Andy on here even, but I think we should dissect that. I think that would be a lot of fun. Um, That's it for me. Let's. I'm going to go ahead and pull up your sheet and let you talk a little bit about your choices. So yours is up right now for the viewers, but for the listeners, why don't you let us know what you chose for futures?
So I did pick. It's funny that we both kind of landed on Ryan Collins on Western Kentucky. I think, um, like you said before, I think it's a really good fit. I also think it's a really underrated team. I think they're really really solid, man. I think they've got um, good pieces in really important places, and you put those in the hands of a really solid user whose schedule isn't ridiculous in terms of he's got MJ Kemp. obviously, he's got Drewski, and those are kind of the three contenders there. But I like it for the money. Uh, also have Notre Dame and Clemson. I just don't see a way either of those guys don't make the playoffs. Um, you know, with what Notre Dame has baked in schedule wise, the way that RB's played, from season 34 through the sort of scrimmage preseason season of 35. Not saying he'll go obviously undefeated, but man, he's playing well, and I can't see him not making it at 10-2. Maybe 9-3 is tough, but it'd be close. It's still Notre Dame, and Notre Dame gets the benefit of the doubt most of the time. Pirate at Clemson. I don't know that he's 100% figured them out yet. But the really nice thing about being Clemson in the ACC is that you get half a year to figure it out, right?
Yep.
Obviously, he's got some tough out of conference games, so I need to be on those. But you talk about someone that has offense down, right, to a science. He's one of those as well, who can absolutely score with anybody. So I don't see, for me, those guys have pretty clear paths to get
And
there.
plus 750 is a pretty good number to take too. I mean, I feel like Clemson's a safe bet. And let me ask you this about them too. So this is an interesting one. I'm glad you brought up Clemson here, just as a point to talk on. But El Jefe just departed there, and it's been spoken on before. And I just saw MJ Kemp was busting his balls about it either today or yesterday, but. He did not have a lot of playoff success. He was there every damn year, but once he got there, the struggle bus came to his stop. Now, do you think Pirate can change the fortunes of Clemson as the new head coach, or do you think Clemson is just has limitations and a playoff team is what they are, but not a national title contender, at least as far as this video game?
I think he's absolutely good enough to win a national title at Clemson. Absolutely talented enough.
Perfect.
Knows the game well enough. And that roster is that's one of the two or three best defensive lines in all of the game, and now you can stunt with them, which brings a whole new dynamic to how hard it is to get a pass off against them, right? Like matter of fact, we played last night, and there were times where he could drop eight, drop seven, drop eight, and I had next to no time whatsoever to throw. Just because they're that talented, not just on the edge, but through the middle. So, um, and it's much like real football, right? It's styles make fights. So it really comes down to who he matches up with. But I think he has a chance for sure. I won't. I wasn't here for MJ Kemp's G5 run when he first, or whenever, not Kemp, Hefe.
Yep.
I've only seen him at Clemson. And, watching some of those games, because it wasn't just no playoff success, it was also pretty much a loss in out of conference every time he matched up with a higher level opponent,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Uh, you know,
I
he,
think he
he
played
lost what
Tennessee
several
one
to.
season and lost, right?
Yeah, Bucknut got
Yep.
him a few times that I remember $LSU and Texas A&M, I think. So I just, so maybe that was more of, to me, it was more of a coach cap on Clemson than it was a team cap.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, heck, in this game, defense is hard enough, but I feel like one of the only ways that you really can have success is if you are able to generate pressure with a four-man rush. So that's a huge benefit to have. Um, well, we're obviously coming close to the block one here. So before it hits, why don't you tell me about what you saw here in block one that struck your fancy that you wagered on?
Now I'm going to tell you, this is going to be your lane much more than it is mine. I've never been a betting person. I've always, obviously, I live in Texas. I've mostly been here. I've never really been able to bet on anything like this, really.
Yep.
So this is all new to me in a lot of ways. So I'm just kind of looking at it, going, okay, matchups. Who do I like? Who do I, Cal plus 3.5. Michigan State. I This is user versus user, knowing one, not really knowing the other. I think Chop is really, really talented. I think he's really smart in how he plays the game, how he approaches it. I don't know a ton about Hughes. What I do know is we have all seen G5 Darling goes P4 and sort of finds out, right? Like we've
Yeah.
seen that story a lot. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but for me, I think it's a pretty solid number, 3.5.
You make
Boy,
a good point. Yeah, that one's interesting. I'm glad Chop is somebody I had thought about too. I know he landed at Cal here, but yeah, he's one of those guys that I took note of last year when he was at Western Michigan. Definitely a strong coach, discipline. All those things like you said. And it's funny because that is, again, this is drawing on a personal experience, but as someone who's not great at the game, I played Hughes at Temple last year and beat him, and really what did him in, like many people, was the turnovers. And so I know he
mhm,
likes to throw the rock, but if Chop is any bit of a good user defender, um, if Hughes is still slinging the rock around like he was, that's probably going to be one of those deciding factors in easily covering that number or it being a 3, 4, 5, 7 point game and you're sweating out that cover if it was real money. You know what I mean? But
yep,
yeah, I like
absolutely.
that game of choice.
I almost picked the second one just because I love that they play all the time and they're such great guys. I went ahead and took Boise just for the blinding turf, which I hate playing on. Um, and also the familiarity, right, is such an underrated part of this process. Is There's nothing about that roster that IROC doesn't know. Sammy just got his roster a week ago, right? So there, all of those kinks, all of those, man, when I run this play, I would really rather have that receiver at slot instead of that one. All of the, this right tackle doesn't pass block well. Let me pull him out and put the other one in. Those just the little intricacies of how, this play didn't work. And I've developed my playbook over the course of 3 seasons, 2 seasons now for IROC multiple. You know, compared to someone who's just fresh into a situation, I think those guys are always going to be at a little bit of an advantage, in my opinion. So I took Boise there, and then Auburn and Illinois. I don't know a ton about Sneal or Sneal at Illinois. I've played X Cross quite a bit, talked to him a lot. He's another guy that's going to score, right? X Cross is going to score, and he's gonna give up points too. So really, my takeaway in that game is hammer the over because
Love
that one's gonna go high.
perfect. And dude, just to just to clarify, I'm a novice at betting as well. It hasn't been long for New York, and dude, I'm a sucker for vices, and so I set hard and fast rules. I'll put down $50, maybe 100 if I feel wild on college football each year, but that's it. But we'll know pretty soon enough. I don't know the way I presented my bets, how I said them, may make me sound like a fucking an amateur. So maybe Andy will come in here tomorrow and tell us, well, this is how you're supposed to do it. But I'm very much the amateur as well, so it'll be fun to for both of us to be able to look at this with little to no knowledge and treat it just like it's intended to be, as Andy would hope, just a fun thing to do and a good content generator. So we'll lean into that and have fun with it.
Absolutely. And learn. I'm going to learn quite a bit too throughout this process. I think this what'll
Absolutely.
be fun about it. What'll be fun about it. I think this is something that I always found fun with daily fantasy. I'm not a huge NFL guy, but having daily fantasy would make me pay attention to teams I didn't really care that much about.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see myself, here in about 3 weeks, staring down the barrel of a random Mac game at 11 o'clock at night, going, man. I really hope Eastern Michigan can pull this out.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a lot of fun with that at one point too. Just it's one of those things where with kids, it's so hard to follow along already with all of it that it was just one more thing that I had to let go to eliminate the distractions. But as they age and don't want to spend time around anymore, have the agency to do their own thing, I'll probably have to get back into those kinds of things too, in real life, just as much as the NDL here, because it is fun. Um, Keeps you engaged, like you say. Well, we've gone a while now. That was all that I had written down for tonight. I think that's probably a good place to call it. We've had a good 8 to 10, 11 people along with us here the whole time. Really appreciate everybody tuning in for the uh, first episode of the Hot Route. Matt and I are definitely looking forward to doing more of this. We're going to lean back into a little bit of what we did on Drunk on Downs and try to bring you some of the entertainment content. We'll do more of the hot mic and things like that. We'll try to do more of the off the NDL football topic and more on the NDL and how that comes around full circle with life. But I thought that was a great way to kick it off. I'm glad that you nudged me to get back into doing it, Matt. Um, Appreciate you guys. Anything for the league, Matt?
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate you letting me jump in with you, and I'm glad we got rolling, man. And I'll tell you, I love the logo. I'm just gonna big us both up here for a second, but the shout outs to each of the other podcasts on the wall.
Yeah,
I think it came out great. I don't love the fact that I'm calling back to a championship from 20 years ago, but other than that, everything looks amazing, and I appreciate you, Drew.
yeah, love it, dude. Great points. Um, we're gonna work hard behind the scenes here, and we'll be back for everybody soon. So for Matt, for Drew Baca, for the hot route, it's been fun. NDL, good night.